You found the WMIX Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 and WMIXSports.com. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. The Saturday Sports Show has been recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the top radio programs in the state. That means the very best mix of local sports content is right here. From the powerhouse on Broadway, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
Welcome into the studios at WMIX for the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
And Danny Zerwinski, that's me, along with Mike Richardson. You just heard him. Chris Hugo, Jeff Crow away on assignment. Avery Barton in the studios, pushing the buttons. We'll get him to talk later. We'll let him talk, of course, as we do. We come here on April 20th. As I look out on Broadway across the street, what was there, what's not there anymore? Frost. There was frost last night. Can you believe that, April 20th?
I tell you what, leaving this morning and looking at the rooftops, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I knew it was going to get cold, but I didn't know that, especially after a last few days that we had 70-some-odd degree weather. I think one day actually got to 81, and it was quite a difference. But I think it's supposed to warm up, hopefully, maybe get into the 50s today. As long as the sun's out, that will be a very, very nice day.
Hey, money. Hey, Mr. Hugo. Hey, there it is. We were having water delay issue. I don't know. I got money. He handed me a check. No, you're good. He's on assignment. He's got work to do. He's on assignment. Anyway, it is April 20th. Last year by this time, there were leaves on the trees. People had mowed 10 times, and the grass was all out of dormancy. Now, these days, on April 20th of this year, you have clumps of grass everywhere. Golf courses are struggling with clumps everywhere. You've got grass is still dormant, trying to wake up. It's not going to get about 70 all week. It's going to be kind of a cooler week, but life in spring in Southern Illinois, basically 81 day, 40 the next. I mean, that's what happens around here.
That's just par for the course, and yeah, I've mowed my yard just twice, but haven't got the ditches yet because you try to squeeze a little mowing time in, and now you get a monsoon that hits, so you can't do all of it at the same time. But I guarantee at some point in time this summer we will be wishing for a cooler day and a little bit of rain.
Wishing for a lot of things we will be. Of course, the summer's 25 days away. Not that I'm counting for me and my other profession, but summer's right around the corner for everybody. We're about 2 or 3 weeks away from postseason beginning. Bass fishing sectionals were yesterday. Some will be held on Monday or today because of the weather implications came in on Thursday. And then, track's going to start coming around in 2 or 3 weeks with girls sectionals, boys sectionals, state meets, and everything else. So it's getting to be a busy time of year. People having proms. Avery got his taken care of last week. Mount Vernon High School did, so he's raring to go. He's ready now. He's got a whole week's sleep to catch up from last week, so Avery's ready to go. We also get ready to go here as we continue another week of sports broadcasting here on the Saturday Sports Show. And this week's schedule is what we feel like we have a pretty good lineup. And the lineup that we have right now lined up, obviously our first two guests, as normal, Tim Holloway, the head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams baseball team, and then Lance Boldt, the head coach of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams softball team, will join us. After that, we're going to have another slew of guests, 5 more after that. Next will be Brian Gamber, the head coach of the Waltonville-Sesser-Valier baseball Spartans. Of course, Brian was a longtime JV assistant for Big Brother here at Mount Vernon, now taking the reins at Waltonville High School for the WSV baseball Spartans. We're going to have him on to talk a little Spartan baseball, see how things are going in the southwest part of the county. Then we're going to have a coach that's got one of the hottest teams in Southern Illinois for high school softball winning games. They're on a streak of about 10 wins in a row. They've knocked off a couple defending state champs in this run, leading the conference, doing things. Brett Diel, the head coach of the Carterville Lady Lions softball team, will join us. They're going to be, I believe, maybe possibly going on a bus to Harrisburg this morning. They're supposed to go to Carmi, but due to wet grounds, they're going to Harrisburg this morning, I believe, to play in a little 3-way tournament over there, 3-team tournament. So we're going to have Brett Diel joining us. He, of course, led them to a state title early in the previous decade. Then at the top of the hour, and this is a distinct privilege for us here at WMIX to interview this guy. He is a Hall of Fame basketball coach at a high school level, over 700 wins, 2 state titles. He's retired from that gig now. And he is the executive director of the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame, Dick Horn. And that name, of course, will resonate around as far as coaching and wins and whatnot, Mike. And he's going to come on and talk to us, the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame located in Pinckneyville. has come up with their new class for this year. Dwayne Wade, Jackie Joyner-Kersey, among others. We'll go through the list. We wanted to get him on to talk about that. They've got John Gross coming in, the head coach of the University of Illinois men's basketball team, on May 31st to speak at their introduction of their new members. This is a big thing that's starting to roll, and names involved in this aren't your everyday run-the-mill kind of people along the sports.
Yeah, absolutely right. And fortunately, I've been able to attend a couple of those get-togethers, two of the first ones. The first one was actually over in Columbia, Illinois. And, you get to rub shoulders with some interesting people, let's put it that way, and was able to talk to several people. And anytime you have a Dick Korn in a room with Rich Herron, Dave Luchtefeld, people of that ilk, why, you're around greatness in one regard. So, yeah, it's exciting knowing that, eventually that day will come when the building is there and everything is put in place. And, you see the flyers, you get them, every couple of months in the mail, and you just always renews your excitement of knowing that that's going to happen around the corner.
And he will be on right around 9:05, talk about the class in the Hall of Fame. Then, of course, we're going to have an old friend of ours, Darren Kinnard, the sports director at Channel 3. He's going to join us at 9:15, 9:20, somewhere in there. We're going to talk a little different things with him. We're going to talk about the Harrisburg situation, the Harrisburg Seton Academy. We're not going to discuss things kind of like we did last week. We're going to discuss it from our perspective, the media perspective, and kind of a neutral side. We're going to talk about SIU and SEMO playing football at Busch Stadium in the fall if weather holds. We're going to talk about Loyola joining Missouri Valley. We'll talk about a couple other things. Talk about the SIU spring football game was last night. Different things going on. We feel that, our sister stations cover the SIU sports program. We need to get him on. He's one of those guys, interviews Barry Hansen, Dale Lennon, and things like that for shows. And in the anchor position, a coach, track coach, Andy Sloan from the Benton Rangerettes. His team, of course, won a track meet earlier this week at Carmi. And then, of course, Andy has had a lot of success since taking over the reins as the head coach of Benton. 2 state titles under his belt. We're going to have him on in the anchor position of the Saturday Sports Show in the second hour. We will post our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. In fact, it is posted right now. You will have the opportunity to go to facebook.com/WMIX Sports. It is posted now. We won't broadcast it on air. You're going to make you go to Facebook first before we ask our first guest, Tim Holloway. You can also tweet us. We're on Twitter at WMIX Sports. You can send us some tweets. We'll ask questions, comment to us, or you can follow us. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We already rolled through. We're going to get going here. We need to take our first break of the show. When we come back, got to be a happy guy. Tim Holloway, the Mount Vernon Rams, a couple of wins this week for the team, and one of them was in conference. We'll take a break. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Ring it along with, did he get enough? Get up, baby. Holy mackerel. He has done it again. A grand slam home run. John, it's time to get up. We got to get over to Busch Stadium. We've got a game to call. Get up, baby, get up.
It's 3 a.m., Mike.
Stan the man said if you're 15 minutes early, you're late.
Oh, I guess I'm ready, too. Make sure you join us all season long right here.
Only in Cardinal Nation.
It's Cardinal Baseball on 50,000 watts of today's hot country. 94.1 WMIX.
Hi, I'm Bria Ashby with Community First Bank. It's always my goal to make the transition to Community First Bank as easy as possible for our customers. Our handy switch kit helps in doing just that. Whether it's direct deposit, auto transfers, or online banking, I'm here to help. Come see me at our 42nd Street location to open your account today, and let me remind you how banking should be. Community First Bank with locations in Mount Vernon, Woodlawn, Dix, and Ina. Welcome back to personal banking. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Danny Zerwinski with Mike Richardson alongside. Chris Hugo and Jeff Crow on assignment. Joining us now, as usual, 8:15, 8:20 slot. The head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams, Tim Holloway. Coach, after a couple wins this week, you got to be feeling pretty good today.
Yeah, we had a good week. We're ready for the next one coming up, but I can't complain about last week.
Hey, we were laughing because Avery gets on there and says, Mr. Holloway. We thought maybe there was something there. He didn't get a good grade in driver's ed or something. He was trying to get something back. Is there a story to this, Mr. Holloway, or is he just using respect?
Yeah, heavy on the Mr., Avery. Make sure you get that right. Sometimes we get a little more respect than maybe we deserve, but Avery, being the good student he is at Mount Vernon High School, is just showing a little respect.
Great. He's had to adjust his headphones with that comment. His head's swelling now. Thanks. We'll have to deal with him next couple hours. Your team had a couple of games this week. The first one was a big one, obviously, to get back in the conference race. An hour and 24-minute win, a shutout over Centralia. It was Brock Fulkerson being nasty, a couple of runs that were scratched out. Great win for your team to get back in that South 7 conference race.
Well, we need it, and we don't have to talk about it much. You guys know that we want to have a chance at this thing. We need to go win all of them. So that was a well-executed game. Brock was locked in, had good movement, located, made it real tough on their hitters. And, we only scored 2, but our guys swung the bats well. We had some opportunities. We got the big opportunity when they threw it away there, and then had a third play that worked out for us. Took a little gamble, and it worked out. So we had a nice one there, and for us to be in a conference race, that was one that was much needed. One that
was much needed, and I thought, in a game like that, when you got McCreeken going against Fulkerson, those guys have seen each other over the years, players have seen each other over the years. It comes down, like other sports, when you're so familiar with each other, it comes down to execution. Your team executed defensively in other ways rather than racking up a bunch of hits and runs. I thought, obviously, that was the difference in the ball game.
Well, you just try to get as solid as you can be in this game, and, Brock is the type of guy, he's rose to the occasion. Look at his start at Marion. Shut out, threw very well. Same thing in the conference. He's pitched well this year, and our guys made every play. And he's a guy that knows how to get soft contact. We got a lot of ground balls that game, and had a lot of guys out in front. And you saw some of their guys pulling pitches way foul, and good change up and location was on for him that day.
And speaking of being on, I thought obviously the Centralia win, say what you want, a great win, those kinds of things. The next day you're playing Breese Central, non-conference 2A school. It would have been very easy for your team to come out and say, well, here we are. It's Breese Central. We just beat Centralia. We have Althoff scheduled the next day. Your team jumps immediately on Breese Central for 5 runs. That had to make you and your staff happy. There wasn't any letdown after that big Centralia win.
Yeah, it was a great start, and, that's something we just try to instill is come to play every day. Same thing every day, and I think we learned a lesson earlier this season that what can happen if you don't. And I thought our guys did a good job, again, with their play discipline. They're getting good pitches to hit, and we hit the ball hard that day, and good things happened for us.
Good things did happen. But then on Thursday, Mother Nature took over, rained the game at Althoff out, and that's been rescheduled for May 9th. Is that correct?
Yes, May 9th.
Okay.
We're going to Althoff.
So you go to Althoff, and then this week, because of the rain, it's one of those days, the things where kids will be happy there's no practice, but you have a lot of games this week. You start off with Alton at GCS on Monday, and Cahokia at home on Tuesday, at Heron on Wednesday, home against Marion on Thursday. A very busy week, big important games, conference and postseason games involved for your team, and the opportunity to play at GCS. It's a big week for your team as far as the schedule is concerned so far.
Yeah, it's a big week, but as we talk each week, it seems like we're always saying we got a big week. We've got a big week. So they're all the same, and if we just come to play, if we play as solid as we've been playing, we'll have a chance to win. But Alton's awfully good this year. They've only lost 2 or 3. They're one of the top talented teams over there. We've seen those guys in the past. Their catcher signed with Indiana. He's a draftable guy. We need to make sure he doesn't beat us, but they can definitely get to you if you don't play well.
And that game's been switched, right? It's not a 6:30 varsity start. It's 4 o'clock?
It's 4 o'clock start for the varsity. The JV will play after.
JV will play after. That'll be at GCS Ballpark over there in Sauget. As you wind down, we're starting the next to last week of April. Postseason stuff's going to come around, rankings and seedings for that Heron Regional. I mean, do you put it in the back of your mind that, hey, this postseason thing's coming up, or do you just go out and play and kind of keep track of what everybody else is doing in your regional so you can seed them properly?
Well, I'm definitely thinking of those things. I don't want our kids thinking about it. We don't discuss it much. We just need to take care of our own business. But, yeah, we know what it means. I feel like if we do what we need to do, then we'll have a chance to get one of those top seeds. So it's definitely on my mind. They just need to go play. It's not something they need to think about. But it's coming up quick.
Coming up quick, and that's why I say it's running down. Centralia, Carbondale, Heron, and Marion in your regional. You will play every team at least once, maybe twice by the time the seeding online voting comes on. I mean, this is a big week. But, again, when you set up this week and you're looking at Cahokia and Marion, obviously the important games on the schedule, but you kind of got to stretch and think about your rotation a little bit with 4 games in 4 days, don't you?
Yes, we do. We have a plan, and, Heron's in our regional as well, so definitely conference is priority, but we feel like we can get the right guys in the right situations, and we feel like they can do the job. So as long as we continue that, we'll be fine. It's not going to be easy. Any of those teams can beat us, so we're going to have to execute, but that comes from your preparation, and you just go out and play and let the chips fall.
Well, that's where they have. Have you been able to get out on the field the last couple of days in practice with all the rain we had on Thursday?
We're going to get out today at 1. We feel like it's going to be dry by then. We get a little sun and wind on it. We were indoors Thursday, and we took a rare day off yesterday. So the guys should be revived, ready for a good hard practice, and looking forward to Monday.
I think that's important. I think that's nice to hear that it's a grind. It's not just a 3-month run like you and I back in the day when we played. It's a year-round deal, kids hitting and throwing and practicing and now games. It's one of those deals where you don't want to give a day off, but you understand at this point in the season, mid to late April, the kids and the coaches kind of need a day just to kind of refresh, as you said, and recharge those batteries once in a while.
Well, I've got a rule with myself, and I like to go every day. We like to practice every day, but if I feel like, hey, I'm getting broke down here,
yeah.
And I saw Quinn start to doze off at lunch, he's sitting in his chair. I know Coach Fulgerson wasn't feeling well. Then, the kids are probably right there with us. So every now and then is that time you just got to get that feeling that it's time for a day off, go enjoy yourself, come back ready with a little more fire the next day.
A little more fire it is. We'll give you our final question so you get started with your day. This one, I think, fits about everybody. Our question this week, our WMIX Sports social media question this week is, what is your favorite snack food?
Well, I like lots of snacks.
Well, I know. Yeah.
Good question. Good question. I would have to go with cashews.
Ooh.
I like cashews. They're hard for me to keep in the office because everybody wants to get their hands on them. But I leave them there in the office, and I like them at home, and that's probably my number one.
You almost have to run like a dummy can somewhere. That way people go to it, and then you got to keep your own, don't you?
It's tough, man.
Hey,
everybody likes them.
Hey, everybody likes it. That's a good choice. Coach, well, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you next week at GCS, home against Cahokia, at Heron, and home against Marion. Busy week, but we look forward to broadcasting all your games.
All right, Danny. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That's Tim Holloway, the head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams. Every game on AM 940 WMIX. Also online at WMIXsports.com. The Rams will be at GCS Ballpark on Monday afternoon. They'll play Alton. That'll be a 3:45 pregame, 4 o'clock start on the AM. The varsity will play first. Followed on the next day, a home game, not on your schedule. It's a home game. It's a rain date in the conference. The Rams will play Cahokia at 4:30 on Tuesday. They'll go to Heron's new baseball complex on Wednesday, where the regional will be at the end of May in 3A, the Heron Regional. And it is a fantastic baseball complex from the outside. Can't wait to look in and get a game in and see what that place is like. That'll be on Wednesday. And on Thursday, the Marion Wildcats come to town, another South 7 Conference game for the Mount Vernon Rams. The Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday games start at 4:30, pregame at 4:15. All of those, every pitch of Rams baseball on AM 940 WMIX, as well as online at WMIXsports.com. We need to step out for a break. When we come back, we will have the head coach of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams softball team, Lance Boldt, on. Talk Lady Rams softball. Stuff this week, stuff next week. You're listening to Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Response has been overwhelming to scheduling your service appointments online at FordSquare.com and KingCityChrysler.com. Hi, Roy Schmidt, President at Ford Square and King City Chrysler Center. We love that you've taken to our websites to schedule your service appointments and are always trying to find ways to make our service departments more convenient for you. Now, we're proud to offer express lane fast oil changes and more at King City Chrysler Center. This means you can stop in when it's convenient for you without an appointment. We're even open on Saturdays from 8 a.m. until noon. Don't wait until it's too late to find out about vehicle problems. Come in for a quick express lane oil change and you'll get a free top-to-bottom vehicle inspection. It's the worry-free way to keep your vehicle running smoothly. Come see us at King City Chrysler Center for quick, convenient service, now open Saturdays from 8 a.m. until noon.
Welcome back. Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Danny Zerwinski with Mike Richardson alongside. Avery Barton pushing the buttons, playing some New York tunes there, obviously. And joining us now is the head coach of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams softball team, Lance Boldt. And, Coach, I just want to let you know that we had Tim Holloway on before you like we always do. He got a Mr. Holloway out of Avery. You got a Lance Boldt. Now, what's going on here? There's no Mr. being used.
I don't know. I don't get it. I tell you what, all the things I've done for him at school, I just don't get it. But it is what it is, I guess.
Well, I guess it is what it is. You can take care of those. He's still got a few days left in his school year if you want to exert some payback for that little respect. And we kid obviously. Your team.
Yeah, they have to do that.
Well, you remember that on Monday. It's a long time between now and the end of school. Hey, your team, they have a show on VH1 called One Hit Wonders. I think your team is going to be called the One Game Per Week Wonders because it seems like you can't get but one game in a week with rain, postponements, or otherwise for your Lady Rams this spring.
Yeah, it's just the way it's been. Every week we get 4 or 5 games canceled, it seems that way. Anyway, I don't know. It's we had the O'Fallon tournament scheduled for yesterday and tomorrow, and yesterday and today, and wasn't able to get that in, and then we had the Althoff game canceled this week as well. So that's 6 games on our slate that we could have played that we weren't able to. So,
go ahead.
It's just been that way about every week. The good thing is, though, we got some girls who are really sick right now. Hannah Wright's one of them, our primary pitcher. She's had the flu here in the last few days, and she wouldn't be able to play this weekend. So, But yeah, we want to be able to play as often as we possibly can.
And you can hear in the background, our listeners, there's a Lady Rams fans very disappointed with the lack of games going on for the Lady Rams right now. One game you did get in this week was a home game against Centralia, and that was a tough one. You guys got in, battled with them for several innings. Tell us about that game against the Annies.
Yeah, we played Centralia on Tuesday, lost 9-6. Hannah pitched, and she pitched a really, really good game. She threw strikes, got ahead of batters, went through about a 3-inning period where she probably only threw about 15 pitches. They were swinging at the first pitch, and she really pitched a good game. There were just about 3 or 4 plays that game that probably should have been made that weren't made, and one of them led to a 4-run inning, and the other one led to a 3-run inning, if I remember right. So, that's what it boils down to. That and the fact that our 2-out hitting with people in scoring position just hasn't been very good, and Centralia got some big 2-out RBI hits. So, that was the difference of the game. But I really thought defensively it was probably one of our better games of the year, even though there were about 3 or 4 misplays. We played it. We had some really good catches in the outfield and good plays on the infield. But and you know what? We hit the ball well. We put the ball in play. It just seemed like every time somebody was in scoring position, we'd hit a line drive or something hard right at somebody, and that was it. But, those things happen. But I do feel like we're getting better each week, even though we're not playing a whole lot. But I was proud of the girls on Tuesday. They played hard.
We talked to, you asked Coach Holloway, I did, ask him about, when it gets this time of year, mid to late April, you're banged up, kids start having some bumps and bruises and things like that. And you have not played as many games as he has. Do you look at giving a day off here and there, or do you just try to get in the facility or get on the field and try to work through things until you actually get some games in a row?
I'd like for us to play about every day if we could, even though, as you get down the stretch, you like to have some maybe a day off here and there. But right now, we're just looking to play. So, but, we are banged up. Summer Cards talked about her last Saturday on the sports show, and she's out for at least 3 more weeks. Really, looking to get her back right before regionals probably. So that really hurts us. She's one of our top pitchers and one of our top hitters. So, and like I said, we got some girls dealing with the flu right now, battling that. So.
Well, and you get to Diel this week, maybe some better weather coming up, and it looks to be a busy week. You have Salem, Murphy, Marion at home, and then go to Mount Carmel Friday. Do you play on the rain date scheduled on the 23rd this week?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we do. We got Cahokia on Tuesday, so we got a full slate of games this week scheduled. That's good. Seems like here lately we've had 3 or 4 games scheduled during the week, and then maybe a tournament. But having 5 games scheduled, then we got the doubleheader on Saturday against Nashville. So we got a lot of games this week, and hopefully we can get most of those in.
That's right, the doubleheader on Saturday against Nashville. That one next Saturday, of course, 11 a.m. start, and we'll have that game here on WMIX. I mean, it seems like it's going to be one of these things where maybe it'll let up and quit raining, get some games in. I think you'll find out next week, possibly, what your team is made of with the different quality of competition you're playing between 2A to 2A to 3A teams. Just see where your team stands, even with the bumps and bruises your team's dealing with right now.
Yeah, you're right. We got some games against the teams that are, pretty solid. I told the girls yesterday in practice, next week's a big week for us because expect to get these games in, playing every day. We're going to find out what we're made of pretty quick, and that's good. We've got, we're 4-7 right now, and we could play 7 games this week, so that's going to definitely get that, the total up there. And, we got some girls who are just anxious to get out there on the field and just a chance to play, nice weather, and hopefully today we'll have a good day of practice, and we'll get going on Monday against Salem.
And you also, go ahead.
You guys, we got Salem at home Monday, and then the game Tuesday against Cahokia, that's also a home game, so.
Hey, you got all kinds of home games this week then. That's good for your team to not have to ride that bus everywhere during the middle of the season, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you this, we had a JV tournament scheduled today as well at Fairfield, and it got canceled, obviously, so the JV girls are a little disappointed as well. I've been trying to get as many tournaments in for them. They want to play, and I'm hoping most of those teams that we play next week, they'll have a JV team, and they can get out there and play as well, because they're pretty anxious. They want to get out there.
It's a pretty anxious time, with the games getting rained out. I mean, looking down the road, are only about 2-3 weeks away from postseason beginning. You're in the Heron Regional with Carbondale, Marion, and obviously Heron. That's got to be, is it in the back of your mind a little bit, seeing what's going on with your team and the others as far as what's coming up for seedings in that regional?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got Marion this week, and we just got to play better against our conference opponents. But I do feel like if we can do what we did against Centralia, play with some confidence, and just go out there and play the type of game that we know we can play, we can give Marion a good game and Carbondale, and who knows what can happen in that regional. They are all 3 of those teams, Heron, Carbondale, Marion. They're all 3 good teams. But I know that we're playing better, and each week we're getting a little bit better, especially defensively. And so, you just never know what's going to happen. I think last year, 4th seed beat a 1 seed in the regional, so it can happen.
It can happen, and what will happen now is our final question for you, our WMIX Sports social media question a week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite snack food?
My favorite snack food?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's ice cream. If that counts as a snack food.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yep. Definitely. I love to make homemade ice cream, and especially in the summertime, we always have some of that in the refrigerator or in the freezer. And I just go every night and give me a bowl of that. I just love that with some chocolate syrup on it.
There you go. Hey, we're going to let you get to your busy day. That way you can get it done and get some snack time for you, and we'll see you next week here at Lady Rams Softball.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Lance Boldt of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams. And, Mike, it's really tough this time of year. You know, your softball team can't get a game in with various reasons, weather and otherwise. Baseball team gets a bunch of games in, but it's hard as a coach, and you're a coach, to try to keep things fresh and new for kids when you're practicing more days and you're playing games.
Not only as a coaching aspect of it, but as a hitter especially, you want to play. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Pitchers can find a way to get their work in, but you know, you can only take so much batting practice or hitting a cage or anything like that. You've got to see some live pitching, whether it be baseball or softball, and that's what's really, really tough for hitters. And as a coach, you just you know, you can only do what you can do. And I mean, the weather has just been bad in timing for a lot of the baseball, softball games in the area. Some teams has been able to, if they have tarps, to get some extra games in along the way. And depending on how the weather fronts has passed through the areas, you know, it's hit in the northern part, and they've been able to play down south, and just vice versa at times. So frustrating coaches and frustrating as hitters would be as well.
Nothing frustrating for us, though, is we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll come out on the other side. We're going to have the head coach of the Waltonville-Sesser-Valier Baseball Spartans, Mount Vernon native Brian Gamber, will join us, talk Spartans baseball, how their season's been going, and what's going to happen in the next few weeks for them. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Here on WMIX.
Too expensive to get back into shape? Not anymore. Rend Lake College's new fitness center is only $53 per semester. They've also thought of everything, with universal machines, free weights, treadmills with dedicated TV screens, ellipticals, and more. Qualified dance instructors are also available. Or go at your own pace with DVDs that can be used in the exercise room. Best of all, it's open 7 days a week. Check out the Rend Lake College Fitness Center in the Marketplace off Potomac Boulevard in Mount Vernon. Or log on to rendlakecollege.edu/fitcenter.
Your spine is a miracle of engineering, so when pain strikes, your body is telling you to get help fast. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois is proud to feature their spine care team. And when there are back problems, pain is always a constant companion. The Orthopedic Center also specializes in pain management, so put our spine care team on the job. Find out more online at orthocenter-si.com. Stop the pain, fix the problem, and enjoy life again. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois.
State Farm, this is Jessica.
Hey, Jessica, Jerry Newman. Does State Farm offer more discounts to more drivers?
Yep, like the good driver discount.
So it's for good, but not great drivers.
No, Jerry. There's also the multi-line discount.
For calling from multiple lines while driving.
You should never use a phone while driving.
I only make calls from my car when I'm stuck in a ditch or something.
Are you in a ditch?
Yes, I am.
State Farm offers more discounts to more drivers than any other insurance company. Get to a better state.
One more reason to call State Farm agent Tony Boldt in Mount Vernon at 242-1421.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
That's Mike Richardson. I'm Denny Zerwinski. Joining us now on the Saturday Sports Show, the head coach of the Waltonville-Sesser-Valier Baseball Spartans, Brian Gamber. Coach Gamber, how are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
I'm doing well here, and it's spring. The sun's out. We know it's still muddy from the big rains on Thursday. Let's get our listeners caught up to date. How has your season been going there with Spartans baseball?
Yeah, kind of off to a slow start, and we got a lot of younger kids, and obviously the wins aren't coming like we would like them to be. I feel like we are improving. That's one thing that we talked about at the beginning of the year, to try to get better as the year goes on. I feel like we are doing that. Still got a long way to go. We got, fundamentals is our big thing that we've been working on all year, and trying to make the basic plays and throw strikes and work ahead. Obviously, our record is not where I want it to be. It's not where our kids want it to be. But their attitude has been extremely positive. They have come to work every day. I really feel like they want to get better. And now we just got to put in the time, put in the work, and keep it going. Because, like I said, we do have a lot of young kids. And so we're hoping that, to keep improving this year, and then as we move forward in the next couple of years, if they put the work in, then maybe, next year and the year after that, we can
turn it around and have a record that all of us want it to be. So.
You moved over a chair. You were an assistant coach in basketball and baseball at Mount Vernon High School. You moved over a chair in basketball at Waltonville to be the head coach. You've moved over a spot on the bench and dugout to be a head baseball coach. Compare the transitions from assistant to head coach in basketball. Compare it to assistant to head coach in baseball. Any differences or big things that you've noticed in the two?
With I guess the differences would just be in the sports. I mean, it is a lot different in baseball. You don't have as much control to run certain things, but a lot of similarities with moving over. When you're an assistant, you can make suggestions, but when it comes down to it, the head coach is going to be the one to decide what to do and who to pitch and the lineup and all those things. And it's very similar to basketball. I'm lucky that I have three assistant coaches that do a really good job for me and help me out, and they always have suggestions and really good suggestions. And for the most part, I usually go with one of their suggestions, and we're all on the same page, so that makes it pretty easy. But yeah, flying over, the biggest difference is, instead of, well, maybe we can try this, it's on you to decide, what to try, when to hit and run, when to bunt, when to steal, who to pitch, how many pitches. There's a lot that goes into the game. But I think in baseball, even more so than maybe basketball, is the practice time and the prep work, the getting, bunt defenses and getting the right cuts and knowing where we're throwing in a first and third and all that. You just have to do that in practice so that in the game, you can't scream out 55 different sets in a baseball game. Your pitcher's got to throw strikes and defense got to make plays, and they've got to know where to go and to hit the right man on the cuts and all of those things. But is it a little bit different in basketball? Probably. But sliding over, it's still pretty much same as basketball, where you got to wear the responsibility of the decisions you make, and people look at you rather than if you're just an assistant, maybe making suggestions and you're not really having to make those tough decisions. So it's been a pretty easy transition, just like in basketball. Felt like the last couple of years, helping Mount Vernon prepare me for this, and I was lucky to work with extremely good coaches at Mount Vernon that taught me a lot. And I'm still learning, just like the kids, there's always something to learn about the game of baseball, and I'm learning as we go along, and hopefully our kids are too.
Speaking of learning as you go along, how has the schedule been for your team? Mother Nature has been taking some people out of games. How many games have you lost this spring?
We've lost about 7 games so far. So it's we had a stretch there where we lost several, and I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things. It seems like on the days where we have really nice weather, we don't have games scheduled, and then when it starts raining and cold and nasty, that's when all of our games have been scheduled. So we have missed a lot of games, and we've played some games in some weather that hasn't really been the best and the most fun to stand in for a couple hours. But I know yesterday a lot of people got rained out. We were fortunate enough that played at Hamilton County, and they had a tarp on their field, so they called us Friday morning and said, come on over, it's good to go. So luckily we did get a game in yesterday, where I know several teams probably got rained out after what we had Thursday, but it's been a tough spring. I know last year was so great, and we didn't have hardly any rainouts, and then turn around this year, and it seems like almost every week, at least a couple of days during the week, we're getting rained on. And this weather, that's why I sound like I am right now, is windy and cold yesterday, so all this weather change is messing me up.
It's messed a lot of people up, and I look at your schedule the rest of the way. You're a 2A school because of the co-op, the addition of the enrollment from SV. You play teams Frankfort, DuQuoin along the way, Goreville, Oakville, couple Powers, Johnson City 2A. It's almost necessary, even though you're playing in a 1A conference, you almost have to go out and schedule those teams, because when you go to postseason, you're in the regional with DuQuoin and the like.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, our schedule is a tough schedule. But just like you said, with the fact that we are a co-op, those are teams that not only, do we have to and need to play, but we need to compete against and realize that, if we ever want to turn this thing around, those are the teams that we're going to have to beat. And the only way you're going to get any better is to challenge yourself and play those teams. Like you said, we got West Frankfort coming up, DuQuoin. We've already played Nashville. We played Salem. We got Goreville, Pinckneyville. We've already played Johnson City, and we've played ZR. We need to keep playing those teams, and nothing's going to change with that. We're always going to be 2A with the co-op. So that's one thing that we tell our kids. Obviously, there's going to be times where it's going to be a struggle. We've taken our licks this year against some of those teams. But I keep telling them, you can't tell yourself, they're a really good 2A school, and, we only have so many kids because we're 2A. So we got to change that mentality and realize that, those teams that we're playing, they are extremely good. They're very good, and they always have been. But we have to do a lot of the things that they do to get ourselves to that level. And so, we've challenged our kids to accept those challenges and play those really good teams. And if things aren't going well this year, you got to keep working, and hopefully, next year, maybe the year after that, we get on the same level with them. And as you said, our regional, we got ZR and Benton and Pinckneyville and DuQuoin. So those are some good baseball teams, and we need to keep playing them and getting better and challenge ourselves. And I think our schedule has definitely done that.
Speaking of, we'll let you get some rest here, but we got to ask you one final question. It's our WMIX Sports Social Media question of the week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite snack food?
Oh, I got to go with some Nutter Butters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'd probably take down a whole row of those whenever I sit down for some Nutter Butters.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Hey,
glass of milk.
With a milk and a whole row, you can knock off maybe 2 rows if you got a good old glass of milk with you.
I probably could.
Hey, we appreciate you getting up this morning. It's been a rough winter, or spring, I should say, with the rainouts and everything, but appreciate you coming on, talk a little Spartan baseball with us.
All right, thanks a lot for having me, guys.
All right, thank you. That's Brian Gamber, the head coach of the Waltonville-Sesser-Valier Spartans baseball team. We need to step out for a break. We're going to talk some softball now with Carterville head coach Brett Diel. You're listening to Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXsports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXsports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXsports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
What does technology sound like? Is it the clang of heavy machinery, the beeps and chirps of an electronic gadget? At the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center, technology sounds a little something like this.
It's the sound of a young girl excited because her mom's being released the same day as her minimally invasive surgery. Thanks to the Da Vinci surgical robot, our surgeons' hand motions are seamlessly translated into smaller, more precise movements. But surgery isn't the only way Good Samaritan is raising the bar for advanced healthcare in Southern Illinois.
That's the sound of a patient's health record being updated and stored electronically for immediate access by nurses, primary care doctors, and specialists alike. That's why soon, the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center will use all electronic patient health records. Less paper translates to faster, better care for you. And that sounds a little something like this.
The new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center. Raising a hospital, raising the bar.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview and Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals.
Pekin Insurance.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
That's Mike Richardson. I'm Denny Zerwinski on a beautiful April morning here in Southern Illinois. On April, there's a lot of games going on. If you want to keep track and see what games you can go to or sporting events, you can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. You can also follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports, as you have all kinds of that going on. That's your social media. And our social media question of this week is, what is your favorite snack food? Mike Richardson, while we track down another guest, what's your favorite snack food?
Well, it's got to be a combination, one or the other. It's fruit or nuts, and I do I sort of make my own, whatever you would call it, nut combination of like a trail mix. I make my own combinations of that. So I'd probably say some combination of a trail mix, nuts, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I have several, and, you know, it's really tough to try to figure out which is what.
It's almost seasonal, though, too, you know?
Right.
Because when you say fruit, it's so hard around here to get good fruit, good oranges year-round. That's an issue. And then naturally when you can get fresh apples from all the orchards we have in the area versus store-bought, it's always tough when you do that. So it's almost like it's a seasonal type.
Well,
you know,
I agree with that, because the seasonal type for me would be in the winter, Doritos. Now it's peanuts. Now to get a little warmer, it's frozen lemonade. That's good stuff. Now we have the head coach of the Carterville Lady Lions softball team, Brett Diel, joining us. Coach Diel, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. It's a great day to play a couple more games.
Couple more games. You guys aren't going to Carmine right now. You're going to Harrisburg today, correct?
Yeah, things got changed up a little bit on us. You know, I'm sure the girls enjoy the sleeping in, but I've been up since about 4 ready to go. So let's get this thing on the road.
There's nothing wrong with being up ready to go. And I think your team, looking at your schedule on a wonderful website that you can check everything out, I think your team has done a pretty good job of kind of righting the ship and getting things going lately, especially with a 10-game winning streak going on.
It could have been very easy, you know, about the first week of April to kind of get frustrated and lose confidence in what your team, you know, may or may not be able to accomplish throughout the course of the year. We had a couple tough games there, and, you know, lost one of them kind of in the 7th inning. It was kind of a heartbreaker, and so it would have been real easy for us to put our heads down and say, well, we're just average. And, you know, I got to give the girls a lot of credit. They bounced back, and they worked hard. We challenged them in practice, and, you know, they've come out and responded, you know, and we put up a pretty good little stretch here.
I'm looking at your website and your schedule, and I see, again, last year Nashville wins the state title in 2A, doesn't win the conference. This year, the Mississippi Division and the River-to-River Conference has to be the most confusing thing on the softball side, probably worse than last year. It seems like everybody beats everybody at least this point so far in the season.
Well, I mean, it's not really confusing when you think that there's a lot of good teams in the conference.
Right.
You know, it's as simple as that. You know, if you don't show up to play, or you know, if you make a mistake at a crucial point of a game, you're going to lose. I was talking to DeCoyne's coach last night, you know, Jason James, and, you know, Monday, and I told him on Monday and Tuesday, we played Nashville Monday, DeCoyne Tuesday. You know, we had 14 consecutive innings of shutout ball going. I mean, I was sitting on the edge of my seat for 2 straight days. I mean, one bad pitch, one error, you know, something along the way, and you lose those ball games. It's tough. There's a lot of pressure in this conference to play very well. You know, people are going to make mistakes. You just have to make sure that when they do, you capitalize, and if you make a mistake, you have to recover quick.
You recovered pretty well, and your team's been on a roll lately. Talk about some of the kids you're looking at and relying on this spring to get some wins.
So it always starts in the circle, and we're fortunate to have 2 very good pitchers. You know, on last Friday we beat Goreville, defending 1A state champion, with Nora Jacobs, our junior. You know, we followed up Monday with the defending 2A state champ Nashville, and our freshman Avery English gets the win. So you know, we have 2 pretty good options there in the circle, which really helps on a day like today when you're playing 2 good teams. You know, we'll throw one each game. We have some solid senior leadership, and Amy Druss at second base. She's a 4-year starter in the middle infield. She's had a very good career for us. And Kaylin Dixon's our other senior who plays in right field. Then we've been anchored on the corners for 3 years by 2 juniors, Carly Callahan at third and Megan Moon at first. They've started every game pretty much of their high school careers, so we have a lot of experience, like I said, in the corners in the middle. You know, and then we put at shortstop what I think is maybe one of the best athletes, you know, especially on the softball field, and not only for Illinois, but I think it's the state of Illinois. Kylie Rock is about as athletic with as good of an arm as you're going to find. So our infield is legit. Behind the plate, we've been throwing a freshman back there. and Alicia Dawson, who's gotten progressively better as the year has gone on. Then in center field, we play Taylor Williams, a junior who started a couple years for us, and then left field, kind of depending on the pitching, it goes by committee a little bit. You know, we do some defensive substitutions and, you know, hit some kids, and, you know, it's a variety of kids that have kind of filled that role for us. So, you know, it's been a team effort. We typically play about 12 kids a game, every game, you know, even in the tight ones. So everybody pitches in a little bit.
Speaking of pitching in, touch on these two topics that helps your program so much. A, the junior high program, which feeds in, and B, the toughness of your schedule non-conference-wise. Talk about those two things and how they go together to kind of help your team be successful year in and year out.
Well, you know, one of the key components, one of the foundations of our program, you know, being successful year in and year out is the fact that, you know, we have a lot of consistency from 6th grade to 12th grade. Excellent junior high program led by Keenan Clark, who then for 9 years now is just at the high school level. So, you know, he and I have been together for quite a while, and we know each other very well, and, you know, things are very efficient because of that. You know, the conversations, there's no beating around the bush. There's no, I don't want to step on his toes. I mean, he knows he's got the green light. If he thinks I'm doing something wrong, he tell me. You know, and that's efficient. You know, and that's what I want. I don't want to be surrounded by yes men. My other assistant coach is Will Cappy, and, you know, if they see something, they're not afraid to say something. So we have three minds working together, and that's the best way to get things done. You know, as far as our schedule, you know, we challenge our kids to play tough, you know, every day. You know, if we're going to play in a conference that requires us to be, you know, at the highest level of play day in and day out, we can't, you know, mess around with a non-conference schedule. It doesn't require the same of us. It can be mentally tough. It can be physically tough on our kids. We have to understand there's going to be high points and low points in the season, because if you're playing a tough schedule every day in a sport like this, you're just going to have ups and downs. You know, when hitting 300 is good, you know, you failed 7 times out of 10. So you've got to be able to take a loss here and there and understand the big picture, keep that in mind, and, you know, we're not afraid to take a loss in early April if it means a win in late May.
I look at it, too, and your program does so very well with this, and you won a state title in 08. That seems – it's only 5 years ago. That seems like it's a long time. You've been around it before, during, and after the state title, obviously. Is there any big changes in the last 5 years of softball that have really changed the game in your mind?
Well, the year – you know, we went to state in 06, 07, and 08. In 2006 and 2007, the pitching – actually, all three of them. It was at 40 feet. The difference in 08, that was the first year of the 4-class system, which, you know, I don't know if that opened it up anymore for us, but, you know, that just happened to be the first year of the 4-class system when we won. Then about 2 years later, I think in 2010, they changed the pitching back to 43. And that changed the game tremendously. I mean, you just don't see the 1-0 games very often. I say that we just won 1-0 earlier in the week, but, you know, that's rare. The hitting is so good now. The bats are loaded. The pitching can't be quite as dominant from 43 feet. And there's a lot more runs put on the board, you know, and you better be able to play defense. And, you know, it's caused us to kind of change our philosophy a little bit. You know, what I thought was maybe the most important position 8 years ago, I don't think that's the most important position today. You know, if you don't have a third baseman and a shortstop that can both play, you are exposed and you're going to have some trouble. Whereas before, I kind of thought you had to be loaded at catcher, and, you know, there's going to be 10 strikeouts a game. You want to make sure somebody's back there that can handle the ball, and obviously that's still an important position. But I just think that infield is so important nowadays because there's a lot of balls put in play. You know, that 10 strikeout game is a rarity, especially the farther in the postseason you go.
I look at this, and I know you got a busy day, and we're going to let you go because you got to get things going and whatnot, and you got to get your mesh-hatted bus driver ready to go too. But because I know he's probably not even up yet. If he is, he's already run about 10 miles. But anyway, he's Mr. Marathon now, your assistant coach, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a big runner guy. I'm actually out in my driveway. His wife is walking by with the dog, so I mean. You know, he gets after it. He's withering away to nothing. He's lost a lot of weight. I'm afraid if we get a heavy wind, he's going to blow away.
Well, that'd be scary. Hey, before we let you go, we're going to try to add some weight to you. We always ask our guests our WMIX Sports social media question of the week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite snack food?
Snack food?
Yes. What's your favorite
Yeah,
snack
I'll tell you
food?
what, man, that's a tough question. I don't eat a lot of snacks. Let's see. You know, I like to give me a good Snickers bar once in a while.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with a Snickers. Maybe if the mood strikes me, a little Oreo cookie and milk. You know, who can go against that?
You can't go against that.
Hey,
Coach.
I don't eat a lot of stuff like that. So, good question, though.
Hey, we just tried to shake things up a little bit. Want something a little
There you
different to talk about. Hey, Coach, good luck today. Good luck the rest of the season. We'll probably get back with you before the season ends, and thanks for coming on our show today.
I appreciate having me. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Brett Diel, head coach of the Carterville Lady Lions softball team. They've won 10 in a row, won a state title in 08, looking to get back for more on a roll as they played Harrisburg this afternoon. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the executive director of the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame, Dick Horn, will join us here on the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
John, just look at those names on the outfield wall here at Busch Stadium. It's Brock, Gibson, Musial. The list goes on and on.
Mike, those are some of the greatest players that baseball has ever seen.
And just think, John, we get to see the stars of today, and you never know, maybe one of these 2013 Cardinals will be on that wall someday.
That's why we invite Cardinal Nation to listen to us right here game after game. Another Cardinal star could emerge again this year.
The Cards on the radio.
It's Cardinal baseball on 50,000 watts of today's hot country. 94.1 WMIX.
If you can't pick us up where you live, move. This is WMIX, Mount Vernon, Marion, another Withers broadcasting station.
Spring is here, and just about everyone wants to be more mobile. Stop by TMS Mobility, a division of the Medicine Shop Pharmacy, for all your mobility product needs. They carry a large selection of scooters, wheelchairs, and so much more. Best of all, you can rent them by the day, week, or month. The staff at TMS Mobility can take care of billing your insurance, too. TMS also carries a large selection of vehicle lifts for your scooter. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner Eric Black.
We service a 60-mile radius area, so a pretty wide area. We service orders from several area hospitals, and we have the staff in place that really sets us apart. We have 3 respiratory therapists and 2 seating specialists to help with seating on wheelchair and power chair needs. And we just feel that we have the staff and the warehousing and the facilities in place to really set us apart from any of our competitors in the area.
TMS Mobility, 2339 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
Learn to live healthy, learn to live well, and learn how you can live free from unexpected medical expense with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance and the Page Agency. Health insurance that covers hospital, medical, and surgical expenses offers a wide choice of deductibles and a non-tobacco user discount, too. Rising medical costs don't have to be a problem with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance. This is coverage we hope you'll never need, but you just can't be without. Call the Page Agency at 242-7000 about a major medical health insurance plan today.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
That's Mike Richardson. I'm Denny Zerwinski. And basketball season for the high school level has been over now for about a month, 6 weeks, but it never ends at the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame. And joining us now is the executive director of that aforementioned Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame, Dick Horn. Coach, how are you this morning?
Doing well, thank you.
Hey, I'm first of all, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. You had all that stuff going on, high school basketball, won so many games, couple of state titles. You get involved in the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame. How big of a project and undertaking has that been since taking over that process of that museum and Hall of Fame?
Well, it's been much bigger than I thought when I agreed to step in, but it has its rewards too. But I thought 2 or 3 years and we'd be up and running, and we started in I think 2008 with this process, and I soon learned that it was a process. It just wasn't going to happen that simply. So it's been a big undertaking, but it's well worth the effort.
And for our listeners who may or may not know, the location of this Hall of Fame is going to be where eventually?
We have a lot in downtown square of Pinckneyville. You probably remember a couple of years ago there was a huge fire that destroyed a couple of businesses on the square, and since then that's been cleaned up, and we have purchased that area there.
Mm-hmm. You are not, obviously, as you mentioned, the only one involved in this taking. You're the executive director. Talk about some of the people on your board of directors and also some of the other names that are involved in this. Some of the heavy hitters on this include like Jerry Colangelo, Doug Collins, Jerry Sloan. Talk about all the people involved as far as running this and making the selection process for your inductees every year.
Well, the board that I answer to on a day-to-day basis, president is John Schotten. He's a gentleman here in town. He's a retired coal executive from Consolidation Coal. And another gentleman in town, Chris, well, I'm going to have to skip there. But Bogey Redmond, the Collinsville great, Kirk Reeder, baseball player from Nashville, Senator Dave Lichtenfeld, David Lee, longtime Illinois coach in the state of Illinois, Joe Wiley, a well-respected player from the Belleville area. Those are some of the people who help me on a day-to-day basis. And then, as you mentioned, we have people like Jerry Colangelo and Coach K, Collins, Jerry Sloan, people like that who played high school basketball here and went on to do great things on a bigger platform. So we have some people who are supporting what we're doing and give us advice, and so we feel we're very good about the foundation that we've set.
When you look at this overall job, and you got to go through, I mean, Illinois high school basketball's been going on obviously for decades and years. The immensity of picking guys and gals and contributors to Illinois high school basketball to making this Hall of Fame, how does the process go? Because you can go to any town, anywhere, and they're going to say, hey, this guy, this gal deserves to be in it. Why didn't you pick that person?
Well, we knew that we were going to run into that when we started this project. We have a committee, selection committee that chooses those who will be inducted. And primary criteria, first and foremost, it has to be based on high school achievement. Now, obviously, you can't ignore what some of these players do beyond high school. But first of all, they have had to distinguish themselves with their high school career. And another important criteria is that they have to be have graduated from high school at least 10 years, because the younger players I don't think, grasp the magnitude of their accomplishments. And even 10 years, they probably haven't. But you go to these players who played 25, 30, and 40 years ago, and I guarantee you they are very, very pleased to be recognized for their achievements. But I guess to get back to your question, we're always going to have that thrown out at us. I even hear, why aren't you located in the central part of the state? Who's ever going to find Pinckneyville? And well, there's a couple reasons that we chose. First of all, this opportunity's been out there for anybody to try to take advantage of, and we're accessible by two interstates, one on the east, 57, and one on the north, 64, 20 miles away from us. So we're easily accessible. St. Louis is an hour and 15 minutes away. And then you get the questions all the time. We receive nominations all the time for people to be inducted. And I would not want to serve on that committee that selects those who go in, because every year, we just selected this class, and that committee could meet tomorrow and pick 25 more players, and nobody could really argue with the fact that those players are being inducted. Now, what you do get is, why isn't my guy going in? But they won't tell you. I say, well, all right, who are you going to take out? Well, they all belong, but so does my guy. So we'll always have that. We'll always have that argument thrown at us, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mr. Corner, you answered one of the questions that I was going to talk to you about, is the location being in Pinckneyville, and you hit it right on the head. I mean, everybody in any direction that you're talking about had an opportunity to do this years and years ago, and nobody did step up. And it's a logical choice to be in Southern Illinois. We may be a little jaded, a little bit of maybe we take it a different way, I guess, but we prefer to have it in Southern Illinois than have it up north somewhere. I think that's how much pride we take in our Southern Illinois basketball and our sports in this area. But getting back to what you were saying earlier, a day-to-day, you didn't know really about how this would entail the job description. Are you basically doing stuff with this committees, with your everyday thing? Are you working every day on this project?
Yes, I have an office here in town, and I go to that office every day. And one of the things that I've learned about this job, first of all, you got to be patient. It's not going to happen quickly for you. And the second thing that I've learned is that you have to cultivate relationships. You're not going to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, "Hey, we're going to have this museum. How about jumping on board with us?" Well, even though people may or may not know who you are, they're not going to give their full support until they feel very comfortable with what you're trying to accomplish. And everybody wants to succeed. Nobody wants to fail. So people aren't just going to jump on board with your project until they feel like you have a chance. You have a plan in place that has a chance to succeed. And that was the one thing that I had to learn, and we had to do a lot of work with, is to make sure that our business plan had the necessary components to lend itself to having success. And that's kind of where we are right now. We keep tweaking or improving that plan all the time, and I think we're getting very close to an idea, a vision that people will buy into, and they understand and know that we are serious about trying to make this happen.
I look at this year's class, and I look at the pre-60s. One of them, of course, here from Mount Vernon, Walter Kirk. Another guy gets them as Percy Barcliffe from Quincy. And then you look at the post-1960s. Now, this is where I start feeling old, because I'm like, gosh, I remember these guys playing. Ronnie Fields, Rashad Griffin, Dion Thomas, Kwani Garris, saw them all play in high school. You guys see Hersey Hawkins, who played, obviously, Bradley, a guy you're familiar with, Doug Collins. You throw in Jackie Joyner-Kersey, among other women's. I mean, this is a class, a group of inductees. I think anybody in the last 50 years or more of high school basketball that followed it are going to know, and what a group it is for 2013 to be inducted.
Well, yeah, that's true. When you get to the pre-60s, there's names there that I've never heard of, but our committee is stationed throughout the entire state, and that's something I want to emphasize too. When we started this project back 5 years ago, everybody said, "Well, it's a Pinckneyville project," and we kind of expanded those horizons, and then it was, well, it's just a Southern Illinois project, and it's been a real tough sell to make sure that people understand that we're celebrating Illinois high school basketball, not Pinckneyville basketball or Southern Illinois basketball, but we're celebrating the basketball played throughout the state. And I think as you look at these names in the post-60s in particular, people come to realize that we're drawing attention to players throughout the state and not just a particular region. So, but I do think, I agree with you, I think a lot of those names are recognizable to fans today, where the pre-60s, you got to go back to the Rich Herons of the world, and Coach Heron, he can tell you every one of those guys, I'm sure, something about them.
This coming up is on May 31st, and I got to find it. It's your fundraising dinner to be held at the Gateway Center in Collinsville. You got the University of Illinois coach John Gross to come in and be your guest speaker. How big of a get was that to get him coming in off a year where he made the NCAA tournament with his team?
Well, I can tell you that we started working to get coaches as soon as he got hired, and so we feel very good about his agreeing to come. His time is very valuable, and he is definitely determined to improve the Illinois basketball program. And his first priority priority is his team and in recruiting. And so it was a difficult chore to get him, and we feel good about it. I just hope people in that area will, especially Illinois alum, will come not only to support us, but also to show their support for Coach and what he and his team did this past year. And the purpose of the dinner is it's a fundraising dinner, as you probably are well aware of. We try to keep our capital giving separate from our operational giving. And I said, well, what do you need operational monies for? Well, we do have a telephone bill every month. We got some postage, and we got some insurance premiums, and we have bills just like everybody else does. And this dinner, this fundraising dinner, will be the bulk of our operational monies for the year. To put on that Hall of Fame induction banquet, it's rather expensive, and we've got to raise some funds to make sure that we induct those people in a first-class manner.
Speaking of first class, people wanting more information can go to the website, IllinoisHoops.org, and that's a great website. It gives you all the information you need about the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame. But before we let you go, we know you're going to be busy working and getting things ready over the next few weeks for this and the induction ceremony later on. We always ask our guests one final question. It's our WMIX Sports social media question of the week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite snack food?
Favorite snack food?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm a popcorn freak. I love popcorn, so I'd say a big bowl of popcorn, probably.
Okay, that's a good answer. There's nothing wrong with that. And hey, Coach, we appreciate you coming on, talking about your inductions and your class that's newly inducted and your Hall of Fame and for basketball that's going to go on for Pinckneyville. And we're going to have you on in the future to talk a little bit more about it. Things get rolling. We really appreciate you spending time with us this morning promoting the Illinois Basketball Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to just kind of spread the word about what we're trying to do. We appreciate it very much.
All right, thank you. That's Dick Korn, now the Executive Director of the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame. You can go to their website, and what a wonderful website it is, IllinoisHoops.org. Mike, that is one of those deals that you and I and others could sit there and then just talk about the last umpteen years of basketball and go through boys, girls, coaches, contributors, and go, wow, the list and task of doing that every year has got to be difficult.
We've talked about that before, and I've been fortunate enough to have some conversations with Mr. Korn at some of the fundraisers that he spoke of, the next one coming up the 31st of May. And it's always fun and sitting at a table with Rich Herron and just sort of throwing the ball out on the table and let him run with it. That's sort of fun and exciting.
But you don't get to throw the ball out. And he's running already.
And you don't get a lot of input afterwards because he can go with it. But it's a blast to be around those guys and just sit back and listen. And the people that he's talking about, Joe Wiley, watching SLU basketball on TV. He's one of the guys, a color analyst for their broadcast along with Bob Ramsey. And, you sort of get to know those guys a little bit, then you meet them in person and have a few conversations. It just sort of adds to it, And as a kid playing the game of basketball, you hope the right way in Southern Illinois. And you see the greats and you see these names and people listed. That's just, awe-admiring of what they're trying to do. And when this is going to culminate with a building and you're going to be able to see all these statistics and pictures and names that people were talking about, we dreamed of watching play and things of that nature. It'll be a blast when it happens, and hopefully another good successful event coming up here later on in May.
A good successful event coming up, and we need to take a break and have another event on the other side. WSIL-TV 3 Sports Director Darren Kinnard will join us. We're going to talk about a variety of topics going on in not only high school but college sports, maybe other stuff as well. You're listening to Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Don't just dream about a better job. Go get it with scores of programs that take 2 years, 1 year, or even just a few months to complete. Rend Lake College is your gateway to a career you'll love. From nursing to coal mining, from computer programming to cosmetology, and everything in between. Rend Lake College is affordable, convenient, and ready to get you trained for your new job fast. Call us at 618-437-5321 or visit us at rlc.edu.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital with our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge. The entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Danny Zornski, Mike Richard alongside. Avery Barton pushing the buttons, feeling his oats. Mike and I'll take care of him later. We'll explain off air. Meanwhile, joining us now, once again, a friend of ours, the sports director at WSIL Channel 3, Darren Kinnard, joining us. And Mr. Kinnard, there's all kinds of things going on in the sports world in Southern Illinois lately, isn't there?
Mr. Kinnard, wait a minute, is my dad here?
Hey, we try to have respect around here, I guess, Mr. Kinnard.
I'm just glad you didn't say respect your elders. We might have had some issues there.
No, you and I are in the same age boat, let's put it that way.
Yeah, old. I get it. That's okay.
I didn't say that. That was your words.
Yeah, it's normally kind of that transitional period, and you never know what you're going to get with the springtime weather and stuff, and yet all of a sudden there seems to be significant news between the IHSA and the Harrisburg deal, and then you've got SIU football having spring game last night, wrapping up a week when they announced they're going to play at Bush next year against Southeast Missouri State, and it wasn't necessarily a quiet week, that's for sure.
Well, let's start off with what you mentioned, the IHSA. I won't say versus Harrisburg, but the IHSA with Harrisburg, with Seton Academy. The IHSA made their announcement and their sanctions, and Seton Academy and Harrisburg had their announcements. Harrisburg's school board of education comes out this week and says, hey, Randy, you did a great job. Coach Smith-Peters, you do not have to do those classes if you don't want to, blah, blah, blah. There's just something wrong with that in there. I mean, it's you and I talked earlier this week. It's kind of like you just got to let the sleeping dog or the big bear alone because you don't want to keep provoking it to see what it will do.
Well, I think that when you read the statements and the interviews that both coaches and both administrations from both schools, neither one is happy with the results of the investigation and then the sanctions that were brought about, and both have voiced their displeasure with it. And at the end of the day, like it or not, it's the IHSA's table, and you got to go by their rules. And it's one thing to stand up for what you believe to be right, and you can have your say. And I don't think that there will be repercussions, for people voting or voicing their opinions, but you get to the point where it's time to go ahead and move on, and you get the impression that that both sides think that they can change the minds of the IHSA, and I don't believe that to be a possibility.
I look at it, too, everybody's at fault here. The coaches were acting probably a little more rambunctious on what they should have been for that kind of setting. You look at maybe, the fans got into a little bit more. The players maybe had a little exchange of verbal, not saying the racial stuff, but I'm saying there's always some trash talking going on in games no matter what level. All that led up to what everything went on. But I think one of the things that, had to be dealt with, was dealt with, maybe wasn't dealt with enough, maybe was in most people's minds, was you look at how the game was called. Now, to me, it looked like two different games. You had the first half and then the second half. I think everybody here needs to throw the officials in here too, along with the players, the coaches, and whatnot, because I think everybody's at fault here with what went on that night to lead us to what we're talking about here today.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember tweeting at halftime from the baseline that this was nowhere near what you should have. It wasn't state championship caliber, from the play to the sportsmanship to the refereeing. It just wasn't. And when you go through and you read the results that the IHS say in their release, you have significant detail and you have significant explanation of what the penalties are for the coaches and why. And there's about 2 lines in there about the officials, about the fact that you have the game wasn't called to the way it should have been, and the officials have been reprimanded. And I think that a problem that I had with that is they went into great lengths and came right out and named Randy Smith-Peters and Brandon Thomas, and they go into this, and there's this line that said the game officials not named, and it just said they were reprimanded. It didn't go into specifics, and I think that there's certainly, especially with the high-profile nature and of this situation, plus some of the charges that were levied, I think that there had to be complete transparency by the IHSA, and I got the feeling from reading that release that the IHSA was protecting their own backside and going, we didn't do this part as well as we probably should, but hey, their reaction, blah 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 blah, and it didn't sit well with me, and I'm almost positive that it didn't sit well with both schools, and then their reaction to such. And so I felt like that there needed to be more transparency there. I wonder, what were the reprimands? Obviously you can go back and click on a link on the box score on the IHSA website and see the names of the 3 officials, and it's not that they they need their names drugged through the mud necessarily, but if you're gonna go out of your way to point out and name the head coaches and their specific actions, then I think you need to do the same for the referees, because as you said, I think there's plenty of blame to go around for all this situation.
And I don't think, obviously, like you, that this is going to end for a while. I think it's going to be in the forefront of things to come from all kinds of angles and sides. Another thing, moving on down the sports world, as you mentioned, SIU and SEMO have a rivalry in football. It's kind of been renewed recently, and they're going to take it to Busch Stadium in September. And they're going to try to play it in Busch Stadium. They're going to have all the teams on the same side of the field. They're going to have going certain directions, and if it rains too much, then they have to move the game back to Cape Girardeau on Sunday. I mean, yeah, you're going to get to play, but there's all kinds of rules and whatnots involved. The flow charts that say if this happens, this goes on, they may not even play there.
Well, and I think that's part of the deal. Of course, we remember a few years ago when Illinois Northwestern played at Wrigley. You had situation where when you put the football field in there, the one end was real close to the outfield wall, and so you had, for safety's sake, they decided that they, needed to have play go one direction, and so, there's some logistical things that go along there that make the game different than I think what everybody is accustomed to. And I think from, when you're talking about this game at Busch, I think that both schools are willing to go along with some of the things that may not be exactly kosher to what they're accustomed to, just for the opportunity to play in St. Louis, to be a part of something. I mean, that you can sit and say, yeah, we were the first football game at the new Busch Stadium, or Busch 3, whatever you want to call it. I mean, they still haven't worked out where the coaching boxes are going to be, things of that nature. And yeah, there is some, there's a potential nightmare of weather, and you hope that you have a greater chance than not in September of not having to deal with that. But it is a possibility, and it's something that has to be accounted for. And but I think that when you factor in the potential negatives, I think that the potential positives far outweigh that for SIU and SEMO. And, from the other perspective, you want to get into an interesting conversation and some guys that can't be real happy, and that's got to be the St. Louis Cardinals groundskeepers, because as soon as that game is over on Saturday afternoon at, say, 4:30, they've got less than 48 hours to turn that around and get the ballpark ready for a visit from Washington. And you would think that the Cardinals are going to be in the midst of a playoff chase, and that could be a very important series in said playoff chase. And now you're concerned: are there going to be field condition issues? And the groundskeepers and all those guys, they will be the ones under the gun in a short period of time to get that back playable for baseball.
I'm like you. I'm thinking, okay, it's a great thing for Busch Stadium, but the Cardinals are playing in late September. You got less than 48 hours to turn a field around. That's not like in Oakland or an old ballpark of the cookie-cutter days where you just turn it around and go. I mean, this is going to be a project to get all the lines off the field, maybe new turf and things like that. I mean, this is something maybe the Cardinals should have said, hey, let's wait till after September, October to get this done.
Well, and I think that's the difference when Illinois Northwestern played in Wrigley. I believe that game was in November.
Yes.
So the season's over for baseball, and if you tear up the field, it'll be okay. We've got time to fix it, and I think that it certainly the turf is going to be tough enough, but that's where the weather factor comes in. That it's a completely different sport in the fact that in baseball you got 3 or 4 guys maybe that are playing out in the outfield at a given time, versus the entire football game is going to be spent on the grass with 22 rather large individuals going at it, and so you have the potential to really tear it up, and you just wonder at what cost is that going to be to the field. And they hosted the U2 concert there when they completely stripped all the sod out and did the concert and then resodded it, and and I'll be interested to see how the professional soccer match goes here next month and see what kind of things go on there. But it's just, I think football is a different animal, and clearly they've tried to limit some of the damage, but the fact that they are putting the teams on the same side, the way they've oriented the field, and tried to keep things away as much as possible from the infield, and especially from the pitching mound.
Before we let you go, it's a busy Saturday for everybody. You got good weather and everything going on. Before we let you go, we're going to ask you our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And this week's question is, obviously an easy one, what is your favorite snack food?
My favorite snack food?
Yep.
See, that implies singular.
I know.
It seems like one food. So this is when you're talking to a chubby guy, that's not really my favorite snack food. I would have to say that ice cream's got to rank right up there, real high on the list.
See, if you hadn't have said that about yourself, nobody would know because we only see you from the shoulders up. You know?
I think people see me enough to know.
People were like, "Really? No way!" No, yeah.
Well,
that's
that
what.
camera adds 10 pounds. Oh, that camera must add a few more pounds.
That's why there's no cameras in radio. We can do what we want until everybody sees us out and about. Hey, Darren, thanks for joining us this morning, and appreciate you coming on. We're going to have you on in the future, obviously, talk some more sports and things going on there, but we appreciate you taking time this morning and joining us.
Hey, glad you asked me. Glad to be here.
Hey, thank you. That's Darren Kinnard, the sports director at Channel 3, WSIL, and we need to take a break. When we come back, we're running a little bit behind. We're going to get Andy Sloan, the head coach of the Benton Rangerettes track team. He's in the anchor leg position today of the Saturday Sports Show here on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital with our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge. The entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
How do the best continue to get better? Hi, this is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. We're no different than any team. When you're at the top of your game, the best want to play for you. That's why, with the addition of our new shop foreman and the rest of our body shop crew, Landers now has a combined experience of over 70 years in dealing with the best parts and repair finishes on the market. This means when you walk into Landers, you can breathe a little easier knowing that your vehicle will receive the best quality repair by the best certified technicians within a reasonable amount of time. Again and again, we work directly with most insurance companies and have loaners and rental vehicles on site for your convenience. We're proud to not only be the standard, but to keep raising the bar in collision repair. Come meet the staff, take a tour of our facilities, and get to know the Landers crew that Landers Collision has so proudly acquired. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. Give us a call, 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Danny Zerwinski with Mike Richardson alongside Avery Barton pushing our buttons as well off break. Joining us now is the head coach of the Benton Rangerettes high school track team, Mr. Andy Sloan. He's in the anchor leg position of guest here on the Saturday Sports Show. Coach, how's it going this morning on this Saturday in April?
Beautiful Saturday. Thanks for having me on.
You got any track meets today, or are you giving them the day off?
Day off today. We ran at Marion last night and finished second behind a very good Carbondale team. So we'll take the day off and get ready to go to Heron on Monday.
A lot of success in your program, 2 state titles this year, success again. How do you keep it going in a school the size of Benton year in and year out? Because track is such an individual sport to get kids to buy in and do well and do work for your program.
I'll tell you what, we've been lucky to have some great kids, like you mentioned, with the state championship years. And, we were able to put a string of, I think, 10 or 11 straight sectionals together. But, we struggle with numbers. We only have 14 kids out this year, and we never have more than 20. And, that's something we really battle. And we try to get out and recruit our 8th graders. And we get in the hallways when school starts. And it's just, for whatever reason, even though we've had so much success, it hasn't been a battle to get kids out. So we've been fortunate enough to get the ones we get out are talented and can do several things, and that's definitely helped with the success that we've had over the years.
You have a spring season and now obviously an indoor season and then into now the outdoor season. Weather's been kind of mystical this spring. It's been kind of cold and warm in a couple of days, and it goes back to being cold yesterday and today. How hard is that on track bodies, track kids, trying to deal with that and get warmed up and properly warmed up for meets and stuff like that?
As far as practices go, we try to, when we go outside and whenever it kind of breaks to about 40 in February, we try to stay outside. But this year has been, like you said, hit and miss. It's pretty good one day and really cold the next day. So as far as the training part of it, it hasn't affected us too bad. I mean, there's been some days we've had to take off. We had to take off Thursday after we had some tornado warnings and stuff come through, so we gave them Thursday off. But, as far as meets, they, on those cool days, they really have to spend a lot of time warming up. And, last night, for example, with it being as cool as it was, not just us, but there were some other teams that took some better athletes out of the long jump, triple jump, high jump, just, worried about getting them hurt at this time of the season with, you're 2 weeks out from your conference meet, 3 weeks out from your sectional. So if you lose a kid right now to a hamstring or a quad or something, you may not get them back. So, when it's cool, you've got to be smart and look at the big picture and want your kids healthy for that conference and sectional. And so that does affect the way you coach. And the kids have to be responsible with the way they warm up, cool down, and take care of their bodies as well.
Now, I'm asking this not to stir things up, but I'm asking this because you brought up the sectional, and I've got the sectional pulled up here on my screen, and I've looked at the boys sectional, and I've looked at the girls sectional. I'm looking at the girls sectional, and you have some teams you're familiar with. There's Benton and Harrisburg and Heron, Massac County, Murfreesboro. Thinking, okay, that looks pretty good. Breeze Central, I'm like, wow, they've been pretty good lately. Okay, you move on. There's Mater Dei. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, there's Carbondale, Centralia, Mount Vernon, Marion, Waterloo Triad. Wow, okay. There's Cokie and East St. Louis. Now, is it just me or some of those schools don't belong together? Because Flora and Benton with East St. Louis and Cahokia as far as track and school size enrollment, there's something wrong here?
Yeah.
Easy now.
There's something way wrong. With that, when I saw that, I just said, holy cow. When you talk about Cahokia and East St. Louis, you forget about Herons and Murfreesboro and those modern days being very good as well. So, it's definitely something that's been a challenge for us, and we're sitting, 560, whatever, and you compete against East St. Louis, it's, 1,400 or right around there. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I have looked once or twice. But, it's difficult, it's challenging. It seems like, the little schools are always going to be small, and your big schools are always going to be big, and it just seems like with track, with the three classes, that middle class, it just, it seems like it gets the raw end of the deal, and I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I've got some suggestions I could give them, but until then, it is what it is, and it's just we're a school that has gone from qualifying probably 10 to 12 events on average, 10 to 12 kids per year, to the current class where we may not. We're fortunate to get one kid, two kids out, and it's just it's just been really tough on us. And some people call it a program killer. They say, well, hey, if I'm a girl and I'm equally talented in softball and track, why do I want to go run track against East St. Louis when I could play softball in a 4-class system and play against schools my size? So that's something that's hard on I think on a track coach, boys and girls side both, to get those kids out to want to compete. And even though that at the end of the year you're really going to have to run well at your sectional to advance the state, but it's just something that we're trying to deal with the best we can, and hopefully one day they'll take a look at it again and change it around. But for right now, it looks like we're kind of we're stuck in there. We're 13 kids over, and I think that Class 1A number may continue. I think it dropped a little bit this year from maybe 555 to 550, and I don't know that we'll ever get back in Class A. We're close, but I just don't know what that number's going to do.
Does it seem like my thing right now is three class sports, track, golf, etc., and football are the next big ones on the table as far as scheduling, enrollments, and whatnot that's got to be taken care of before it starts going down a track they can't get it back from?
I agree. It's just, I don't know exactly what the answer is to it all, but I just think it's very difficult in my situation, again, to have a school, whatever we are, 550, 560, and competing against schools of 1,400 is just so tough. You can't sit around and cry over spilled milk and worry too much about it. You've got to face it and move forward and make sure your kids have that same mindset and make sure they're ready to compete. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. but it has been tough for us, a tough transition for us moving from the 1A to the 2A. But, you know, at the same time, you know, as far as our schedule, we run the indoor season like you talked about, and we go to Triad, and we go up to Robinson, which is a nice meet for us. So we get out and we see some other people and go to the Edwardsville Relays, which features some of those schools you talked about in Cahokia and East St. Louis. And so we try to at least give our kids the exposure, or let them have the exposure to see some of the competition that they'll face at the sectional, so they don't just go in and are completely blindsided by some of these great athletes that these schools have.
One other question off topic involving a different kind of track. It's getting to be about that time for it's obviously going on, but it's getting about time for dirt track racing going on, isn't it?
It sure is, and that's something that I've always loved to do. Growing up, my uncle raced, and we spent every Sunday at the old I-57 dirt track. That's now the drag strips there. There's no dirt track there anymore, and spent a lot of weekends in Paducah. And as I got older, I kind of got away from it a little bit, got involved with sports, and went to college. And when I got out of college and came back home, I got right back into it. And, you know, I've got some good friends. You guys are familiar with Jeff Lon, a good friend of mine, and we enjoy going to the dirt tracks. And, you know, it's a lot of fun for us. And, you know, it's something a little bit different that a lot of people maybe don't understand, but it sure is a lot of fun.
Hey, you know, maybe you could race. Lon and Hugo could change tires, and I could crew chief, and we can make something happen out of this.
Hey, that's a thought, you know. Maybe we could put something together there.
We could. Hey, speaking of putting something together, we need to ask you our final questions, our WMIX Sports social media question of the week, and we asked this week, what is your favorite snack food?
Favorite snack food? Well, I think I'm going to have to go with during track season. It's the Biggs bacon salt sunflower seeds. Okay. And then I think the other 6 or 7 months out of the year, I just have to go with the Butterfinger.
Yeah, that's good choices. Especially if you're on track meets, you can find those.
Absolutely.
Hey, we wish you nothing but the best rest of this spring. We're going to hook up with you again, probably talking something else, maybe besides track, maybe have a little form of stuff in the summer. We got some stuff planned, so we're going to keep you around, probably have you on again, but thanks for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. I appreciate all you guys do and enjoy listening to your program. You do a great job.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Andy. That's Andy Sloan, head coach of the Benton Rangerettes, girls track team, I should say, head coach. We need to take a break, come back. We'll discuss some other things on the agenda and talk about our upcoming broadcast schedule here on WMIX. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show, of course, here on WMIX.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXsports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXsports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXsports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
With 2 new hospitals, trusted physicians, and dedicated staff, it's clear that our local healthcare industry is helping to make our community stronger every day. Hi, I'm Terry Prosize, a commercial lender and healthcare banking specialist at Community First Bank. I'm putting over 20 years of healthcare and business experience to work for our medical community and local businesses. Whether you have an expanding physician practice, an existing business, or hoping to start a new business, I have the financial prescription for you.
Community First Bank with locations in Mount Vernon, Woodlawn, Dix, and Ina. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Well, welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX. Standing Zwinski and Mike Richardson will give you a brief rundown quickly of games coming up this week here on WMIX. On Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock, the Rams baseball team will be playing Alton at GCS Park. Pregame at 3:45. Tuesday, the Rams host Koki at 4:30. Pregames at 4:15. Wednesday, the Rams are at Heron. First pitch 4:30. Pregame at 4:15. On Thursday, Rams baseball hosts Marion at 4:30, pregame at 4:15. On Friday, Lady Rams softball at Mount Carmel. That'll be a 4:30 first pitch, 4:15 pregame. And on Saturday, a doubleheader for the Lady Rams against the Nashville Hornets. First pitch, 11 a.m., pregame at 10:45. You can hear all those games right here on AM 940 WMIX or online on any device at WMIXsports.com. We need to take another break. We'll come up and wrap up some of the other items around the sports world as well here on the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Allow me to introduce the all-new 2013 Lincoln MKZ. Hi, Roy Schmidt Lincoln dealer at Ford Square, Mount Vernon. We are excited about the refreshingly new 2013 Lincoln MKZ and are confident that we have a bigger selection than anyone else in Southern Illinois. The new MKZ is the future of Lincoln design born today. With elegant fluid lines, every surface is faceted like the many dimensions of discovery. Those who seek new experiences will also delight in the many twists and turns of its athletic stance. Inside the MKZ, you'll find genuine wood trim with power windows that boast global open technology and premium leather-trimmed interior. See our great selection of the all-new 2013 Lincoln MKZ online at FordSquare.com or see one of our associates at Ford Square, Mount Vernon, 1501 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and find us on Facebook.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
That's Mike Richardson, Danny Zerwinski. I want to thank all of our guests this morning for joining us. That would be Tim Holloway, Lance Boldt, Brian Gamber, Brett Diel, Dick Horn, Darren Kinnard, and Andy Sloan for joining us this morning on the Saturday Sports Show. We got a shout-out to the Mount Vernon Rams boys track team. They won the Muscuda Invitational last night, finishing in first place with 159 points. They outdistanced Salem, who had 99, followed by Highland with 81, Muscuda 78, Alton 75, Freeburg 61. Congratulations to Clint Turner and the Mount Vernon Rams track team. We also want to tell everybody about our WMIX Sports social media question of the week posted on our Facebook page. What is your favorite food snack? Go to facebook.com/WMIX Sports and give us your answer there. You can also follow us on Twitter. We just went over the 800 follower mark over the week, and we appreciate everybody following us there. We're edging up closer to 500 on Facebook. So give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports, or follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. We comment and compliment and put things on Twitter all the time. Last 5-6 minutes of the Saturday Sports Show. Mr. Richardson, you being a Yankees fan, Jeter's out till the All-Star break. Granderson's out. Teixeira's out. I don't even know who the Yankees play anymore. Besides CC every 5 days and Mariano out of the bullpen.
It's been different. It's been different. Been able to watch naturally every game they've played so far, and they picked up a cast of characters that it's just some of the organizations, sports teams. When you put the uniform on, sometimes you get a little lightning in a bottle. And Vernon Wells has been that. Travis Hafner's been that. They hit their fourth and fifth home runs of the season, respectively, last night. 9-6 on the year. A lot of prognosticators didn't think they'd win 9 games maybe before the All-Star break when some of the veterans become available later on. Curtis Granderson, he's closer. Mark Teixeira's swinging in water now, so be able to check his forearm out. They'll both go to have doctor follow-ups. It seems like that's a weekly thing now. And, yeah, the news with Jeter is very disappointing, disheartening for a lot of people. And it's reality, though. I mean, that's all there is to it. And hopefully when he comes back, he'll be back healthy and have a nice second half of the season.
Today, of course, also one of my favorite times of the year over the next 2 months. I'm big into this. NBA playoffs start today, tomorrow, games all wall-to-wall the next 40, 50 days. This is the best time of year. I know NBA has an 82-game schedule. I'll pick it up during the season a lot more than I used to. And now this time of year, Mike, this is when the money comes out on the table and you get to see who, what, when, and where.
You know, and I was sort of down in the dumps right after Kobe's injury because it's no secret. Everybody knows I'm a huge Laker fan, and especially the Black Mamba, the way he plays the game. And I just really was hanging my head down, but I watched the last 5 or 6 games the Lakers played. They really have been team-oriented. I'm not taking anything away from Kobe, but he's that 30-point game a night, and he's the guy that's going to willingly take that shot as the buzzer's going off. But right now, if Nash comes back and if Gasol can do the things that he's been doing, they could not have hand-picked anybody better to start a championship series runoff against the San Antonio. They're banged up a little bit right now. They avoided OKC, which is huge. But right now, I'm not near as in a foul's mood as I am now. This will be a close series, don't get me wrong, but I think the Lakers have an opportunity right now with the cast that they have and they can put on the floor.
You look at the NBA playoffs, you got Lakers Spurs for the 175th time. I believe OKC and Houston get together. James Harden will be old-time friends there. Clippers Memphis, I think. Is that who that is, maybe? I can't remember. It seems like that. Of course, you got in the East, it's Miami and everybody else because Derrick Rose is not going to play this year, folks. Get over it, Bulls fans. He's not going to play. I don't know if there's anybody in the East that can give Miami even a fit. And then, of course, is you look back the West. Who does
Denver, Golden State will
be interesting. And
that will be in the bracket with the Lakers and San Antonio. Then the Clippers, Memphis.
Clippers and Memphis once again. They had a 7-game series last spring.
Everybody's capable right there. I mean, OKC because they're fast paced naturally, that them fresh young legs. Oh gosh, you want to avoid them as much as possible. But I don't think Memphis gets enough credit. The Clippers. Can they shoot it from 15 feet out? That's going to be a key. Golden State, but Denver, another good young basketball team. The West is loaded. I mean, it's just absolutely loaded again. That's how it used to be.
Cardinals baseball, of course, on WMIX FM. Every game you can listen to on 94.1 FM. They're rolling right now. Yeah, I got a tough loss last night against the Phillies in Philadelphia. Of course, Roy Halladay was throwing very well. NASCAR's in Kansas City. They'll drive through late tomorrow night, early Monday morning with the trailers and everything, going back through the Charlotte after the race tomorrow in Kansas City. NBA playoff start. Golf's kind of on a downswing this weekend after the Masters. High school sports kicking into full gear here as we enter the last part of April into May, and we got all kinds of things. You can hear every pitch of Rams baseball here on WMIX. You got the NFL draft, which is next Sunday or next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's becoming an event to itself.
I'm glad that they've done that to make it live for the fans during the weekend like that. That really just hits it off for the Saturday show.
Hits it off, and that's next weekend. We'll be back again on the Saturday Sports Show, Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Post your answer to our Facebook question or social media question, I should say. Like us on Facebook there as well. Follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. Find our website, WMIXSports.com. That has our broadcast schedule. And we've got a game every day next week, including 2 on Saturday morning. Thanks for listening. Welcome you back. We'll see you here again at the same time, same place, same channel, same website next week. NBC News is now.